Coming up on today's show, Derrick Rose out for the next several weeks after undergoing ankle surgery, and we're going to take a look at some of the top trade candidates leading up to the February 10th NBA trade deadline. But first, let's get the good vibes going for D. Rose, a wonderful story last year as he was just phenomenal for this basketball team. We were expecting big things from him this year as well. To wish him a speedy recovery after undergoing that surgery, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and let's start today's show. You're watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. I hope all of you are gearing up to have a wonderful holiday season for all of you who, of course, do celebrate. Let's get into this latest Knicks injury news all surrounding Derrick Rose. Big blow for this basketball team considering his impact on the squad, what they were expecting from him in this lineup, and where the Knicks are right now as a squad. Really struggling over the last several weeks. So let's get you caught up first. Underwent ankle surgery on Wednesday. Will be reevaluated in 8 weeks, but according to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, there is some optimism that he could come back earlier than that and maybe return in about 6 weeks. Now, he hasn't played since December 16th. This is an injury that kind of lingered over time. And when you look at the squad right now, they're struggling offensively. There have been dips in production defensively. And going into this year, Derrick Rose is going to be relied upon to be really that go-to scorer coming off the bench and, of course, get some of those starts from time to time. So at the end of the day, this is a big blow for the New York Knicks right now because he's going to be out for a little while. This is a team that's trying to find their footing. They don't really have an identity as of this moment, offensively or defensively, and they're trying to stack wins in what this year has been a very deep and stacked Eastern Conference. Now, his numbers this year down a little bit last year when really he was on the cusp of winning multiple awards and really just took the attention of a lot of basketball fans by storm because they're like, yo, D. Rose able to extend his career a little bit, really extending it by the way that he's been able to improve his three-point stroke. So his numbers this year down from a year ago, but still pretty solid for a bench role. 12 points per game, 3 rebounds, 4 dimes, shot around 44.5% from the floor, and at times you could just see athletically he didn't have that spark, didn't have his legs underneath him, and that's why he hasn't always been the same player. What does this mean for the Knicks moving forward for at least the next, let's say, 6 to 8 weeks, the estimated timetable that Derrick Rose is going to be out of the lineup? More Kemba Walker. That's what it means. Kemba Walker is going to continue to get more playing time. He's going to continue to get more burn. He's going to get more tick. And in the last 2 games, when he has gotten more playing time, mostly because of some COVID issues, but also injury-related issues as well, Kemba Walker has performed after getting DNP'd for several games after Tom Thibodeau had benched him a few weeks ago. So more Kemba Walker moving forward. Let's hope that he can play more consistently like he has the last 2 games to either help the Knicks or increase his trade value for a playoff contender across the NBA. So considering how the Knicks are playing and how they've been playing and COVID issues, R.J. Barrett coming off the COVID list, by the way, and injury issues moving forward, what's your level of concern with the Knicks right now? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. Before we get to some of these top trade candidates in the NBA, do want to tell you about this deal thanks to our friends at Fanatics. Yes, Christmas is only in a couple of days. Crazy to hear how fast it's here, but chatsports.com/Knicks sale. You plug in that link and you get a bunch of really good deals right after the holiday season to treat somebody who maybe you haven't hung out with in a little while. You haven't seen them because of the holidays, travel, corona, whatever. Chatsports.com/Knicks sale. Hoodies, beanies, this zip-up, pullover, a bunch of phenomenal items with phenomenal deals. Anybody likes to save money during the holiday season, you can do that by plugging in that link down below. Want to run quickly through some of the top NBA trade targets leading up to the February 10th NBA trade deadline. Now, you can make some changes to this list, take some people off, put some people on, and of course this list is going to change over time. But as we know in the NBA, it's always full of drama. Things can happen very fluidly and very quickly. So we broke this down in tiers here. Some of the big names on the NBA trade market potentially. It includes Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Kyrie Irving, Domantas Sabonis. Now, Russ is going to be tough to trade and acquire because of his salary. Damian Lillard remains steadfast that he wants to be a part of the solution in the Pacific Northwest, not get dealt. Bradley Beal and the Wizards got off to a nice start, but he just said the other week, I'm not going to sign a contract extension to stay in the nation's capital. There is belief, and this does impact the Knicks in the Eastern Conference as well as in New York City, that Kyrie Irving going to join the Nets at some point soon. He's in COVID protocols now, like, I don't know, seemingly 90% of the league. And Domantas Sabonis, as the Pacers rebuild, or at least they figure to, could be on the trade block as well. Now, Damian Lillard got off to a really bad start this year, one of the worst of his campaign, his career, but his last 6 games, he's been much, much better. 31.5 points per game, and his field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, also pretty good. So his field goal percentage has been about 43%. His 3-point percentage, about 38.9, which is very good, on 21.8 attempts. So those are the figures there for Damian Lillard's last 6 games. Now, in between some really marquee superstars and the next tier we're about to break down, Ben Simmons. And according to Shams Charania, multiple other reports, the Knicks could have interest in Ben Simmons, a 3-time All-Star who, in my opinion, probably the best defender in the league because he guards all 5 positions, a name to keep an eye on as we get closer and closer to that aforementioned NBA trade deadline. Now, we are killing the game here on New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. We have more than 3,400 subscribers, and because people have been liking our videos, because the view counts have gone up and our subscribers have really grown significantly, we're pushing out more Knicks content. And we want to continue to do so to serve one of the greatest cities in the world and one of the most marquee franchises in all of professional sports. So if you want more coverage here covering the Knicks, hit that red subscribe button, and hey, let's get to 4,000 subscribers ASAP. Solid starters tier. And again, you can make changes to some of these tiers, and you can rip me in the comment section if you want. Jeremy Grant, Jaylen Brown, CJ McCollum, Buddy Hield, Tobias Harris. Now, for Tobias Harris, I think it'd be wise for the Sixers to try and get off that contract. Does he fit with New York? I don't know. He's a better version of Evan Fournier, just a little bit more expensive, actually a lot more expensive. One of the worst contracts in the league. Buddy Hield, a great floor spacer who can make it rain at MSG. CJ McCollum, a great hybrid guard. Jaylen Brown, one of the best two-way players in the league. And Jeremy Grant, also a very good two-way threat as well. Want to focus on Miles Turner, who can probably be classified in this tier as well. His 2021-2022 stats are very good, averaging a tick under 13 points, 7.5 rebounds, leads the NBA in blocks just like he did last year. He's done so much to expand his offensive arsenal to the three-point arc. Now he can be considered a floor spacer, but if you want to mix it up down low, he can do that in the trenches with some big bodies like Joel Embiid and just give you so much more than a guy like Mitchell Robinson. So I like him for the Knicks. Another name, to keep an eye on leading up to the NBA trade deadline. So among these players and some of these players that we're about to break down, which trade target is the most intriguing? And maybe you have a player who is not on this list who you find intriguing. Just drop me some names in the comment section. Role player tier. Boston fans might say, Marcus Smart, he's not a role player. He is, and he's way too overpriced. He's a very good defensive player. There's no question about that, and he's an absolute bulldog. If there's an NBA player I don't want to meet in a back alley brawl, it's probably Marcus Smart, but I'm not giving him the contract that Boston did, and at this point, I think he's a role player. He's not a point guard, that's for sure, and Boston is using him as such. So role player tier for him, an affordable contract for other teams, a guy who's going to be under team control for the next couple of years. That's what makes him a viable trade candidate. An unproven player who I think has a lot of upside is Cam Reddish of the Atlanta Hawks. Karis LeVert, if you want a bucket getter who's somewhat affordable in today's NBA. Taylor Horton-Tucker only getting around $10 million per year. Not bad for a guy who's 20 years old and also has potential, just hasn't lived up to it this year when he's been asked for his role to expand. And then how about a 3-and-D guy? You always have to talk about 3-and-D guys in today's NBA, and that is what Robert Covington is, an excellent wing defender and a guy who really just camps out around the three-point arc and, man, has done a lot throughout his NBA career to go from undrafted to a hidden gem with the Philadelphia 76ers to then being a trade piece and a trade asset for Jimmy Butler. Now he's on the Trailblazers, and who knows? I don't know. I mean, Portland could decide to just blow that franchise up, and I think that would probably be the wise move. I want to see Dame in New York City. My goodness, is that going to be a move that the Knicks make? Probably not, because Dame is way too loyal. I respect it, Dame, but as NBA fans and as somebody who covers this game on the daily basis, I want to see you in a winning environment, competing for championships, playing in a litty crowd at MSG. That's just me. I know you're with me, but what do you say? Let me know. Do the Knicks need to make a move? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you on the other side of the holiday.